Steven, every once in a while I learn something from the internet and
Ooh,
I have to share it with you, right?
Anthony has learned something new, ladies and gentlemen, that will probably shock us because usually it's something
I-
I don't know.
I'm gonna say, Steven, if you knew this and you didn't tell me about this, or if it didn't come up on our show at some point, we have failed as a society. Society, Steven, a society, because today I want to tell you a little story about a beautiful one of the Lord's creatures called an anglerfish. Okay,
Oh, yes.
I know you know what an anglerfish is. We
I,
all
yes.
what an anglerfish is. Steven, tell me like all the things like what are the things that pop up in your brain about an
Dude,
anglerfish?
so I don't know if this fun fact is the one that you know, but I do
Probably.
know one fun fact. But I will say this, anglerfish, I've heard many things. I've heard they could be the size of a Volkswagen Beetle. However, the only one that they've ever they don't seem to be that big. They're big, but they're not like
Yeah,
Volkswagen Beetle size because it just wouldn't make sense. You're at the very, very depth of the ocean. You're barely feeding on stuff, unless you're a giant squid and a sperm whale going at it like Godzilla versus King Kong. You're
as I
just
should.
not as they should. Um, but yeah, obviously they use the bulb on their head to lure prey and
They
eat.
have those big scary teeth and all of that,
Yes.
right? Okay.
And anglerfish, though, I'll just say this, and if it is, you can continue. The
Okay, go ahead.
anglerfish you know and love is more than likely a female of the
Yes.
species.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Steven, I just learned about this, Steven, and it blows my freaking mind. Okay. And this is how I learned about it, right? Okay. So this is how this was painted to me. All right. The male anglerfish isn't the one with the bulb that's attracting,
Mm-mm.
creatures toward its terrifying jaws. The male anglerfish is a pathetic creature
The most
that
pathetic.
cannot fend for itself at all. It cannot. It is starving. Its whole life, it is desperate for food. It's moving around in the dark without its little light bulb in search of the light of its life, right?
The
It can't.
male anglerfish is your aunt's on again, off again boyfriend who's never fully committed and can't really get a job right now because he's got things going on. Okay.
That's right. But he's so desperate and so hungry that what he does is like a mosquito to a bug light. He follows of the scent of these pheromones that he smells his entire life. So he's desperate for these, right? He's tracking through the depths of this dark abyss of sea, looking for this beautiful aroma that he smells, right? And when he finds it, Stephen, when he finds this thing that he's looking for his entire life, what he tries to do, like many ape descended creatures, is he tries to put it in its mouth. Okay? He
Oh.
he immediately is like, oh yeah, yeah, no, no, I'm gonna eat you. But he's like, oh, I didn't mean to eat you. I want to kiss. But what happens, okay, when he finds this thing, and Stephen, so his whole life he's searching. His whole life he's searching for a female anglerfish, right? And when he
Hmm.
finds it, he bites her. And when he bites her, he becomes attached to her permanently.
He's fused, baby.
Not only that, yeah, he's not only like metaphorically fused, his lips, his fishy lips melt into the female anglerfish. So much so that her body consumes him as it should, because that's what he gets for biting someone he doesn't even know.
This is assault, sir.
It 100% is. But then what happens is the entirety of this anglerfish's body is consumed by the female anglerfish, with the sole exception of the male's testicles. The testicles of the
Like,
anglerfish,
let me get those.
and they just like my favorite fact about this is that female anglerfish can absorb as many male anglerfish as they want. Like that
Give me them. So you're telling me a female anglerfish literally has a jar of testicles that
I
she
mean, look at
carries in her
it's
persons.
a mane of balls, Stephen. Like it's amazing. It's amazing. It's crazy, and I love it. But anyway, and they're active. They're functional. So that's how the anglerfish reproduce. That's how they reproduce. They're like, now I
Can you
have.
imagine how badass you were as a species that you're like, nah, I don't need men. You
Yeah,
come to me and I'm going to take the part that you treasure
it's
and it's going to
incredible.
become part of me. And that's it. And then you can just fuse and
It's
fuck off.
even like if humans woke up tomorrow and that was suddenly what we were like. Oh my God. Like the
So wild.
disgusting, crazy, awkward array of situations that everyone would be in. Like imagine, oh my God. It's just so terrible. Trying to imagine what any other creature does but in the body of a human is terrifying,
Dude,
Steve.
imagine you lock lips with this girl that you've been like vibing with, and then like you suddenly are like, "Ugh," you can't pull away, and you just like
Yes, I
start to
lived here.
melt.
And
Yep,
then
and you
she's just
just
like slowly slurping, then that's you're gone. That's that was your life. Rest in peace. Except for the only thing that, you have something lives on, of course.
Dude, that is such a wild like animal fact. Like,
It's crazy.
where did it? I just want to know through their years and years and multiple years of evolution to get to the point that they're at now as anglerfish. Who was the first male anglerfish who
Oh,
got the raw end of the deal?
I,
Was like his dad was like, yeah, bro, they're the most beautiful thing you'll ever see, and they'll love you for life, and this and that. You just lock lips with them, and then you can unlock whenever you want. Like it's
whatever
just
you want. It's
and the
great.
anglerfish he finds decides like, no, something has changed in
Actually,
me
something has changed in
genetically.
my genetic makeup, and
It's
now
to allow something.
we no longer need you, so you're welcome. Like, obviously the male anglerfish doesn't know this is happening, right?
No,
The
he's
female anglerfish doesn't ask for this power, right? Maybe they know. I don't know. I don't know what they're aware of, but I do know that the male anglerfish is just swimming through the dark looking for some food and finds something that smells like the most delicious thing they've ever found, and it eats them and steals their testicles.
it's literal its only purpose is worse than the butter robot from like Rick and Morty. Like its only purpose is to die.
Its
Like
only purpose is to deliver testicles. Like
you're
that,
you,
it's
what is my purpose? You bring me the testicles and I fuse your body with mine.
bring me the testicles, Summer. Just okay, okay, let's get started. Hello, welcome to We Have Issues. I'm Anthony.
And I am Stevie Wildcard.
And every week, my best friend Stevie Wildcard and I get together and we do this. We talk and we overcome the various issues and obstacles that life throws our way in order to make freaking comic books. We've been trying to do this for a long time. If this is your first episode with us, welcome. Thank you for participating in this. Please hit the subscribe button. It would mean a lot to us. Comment below for the algorithm and let's
Come to our channel, fuse with us, and let us take your testicles.
eat those testicles. You can quote me on that. So, I mean, look, listen. If you have them, you can make them hit the like button. I don't care how you do it. It doesn't matter. I don't even know if that'll work. Actually, maybe it will. I feel like I've never tried it. Okay, but I feel like any bit of my skin can make my phone work. It's pretty good. It's a
It's pretty
smartphone.
good. Sometimes even like my clothes skin, because my body heat is high enough, it just works.
Okay, okay. So for those of you who were joining us for the first time, they're gone. Those people are gone. So hello, everyone who's our best friend, because that's the only reason you're still here. Welcome to the
Everyone else tuned out after gonads getting fused to a anglerfish woman.
As they should. But if you're still around, thank you. You probably know what we do here, but if you don't, if you're not familiar, my best friend and I've been trying to make comic books for a billion years. Recently, we decided to make a comic book together, and we've been doing it ever since, publishing these books ever since, on Kickstarter and such, and it's been going really well. This week, Steven, I got real sick.
Ooh,
I got real sick for 2 days.
oof.
The kind of
I had that cold like a month ago.
yeah, I got super sick for 2 days. So I was just like, I'm gonna be productive. I'm gonna get all my stuff done. Here I go. Here I go. Here I go. And then I died, Steven. I died. And I laid in bed. Like I just laid on the couch and just watched stuff. I watched Venom. Like I watched the new Venom. I just like
Mm.
sat there. That's all I did is I just sat there. Like I vegged out and just watched stuff. And I felt terrible for like 2 days. But then I played like catch up really hard. Like I was just like I was fighting it.
I need to get back on this
Dude,
train.
I was getting really bad. Like I was starting to feel really negative. I was feeling like really pessimistic about everything. I was just like, crap. And yeah, but I haven't even been like that lately. I haven't been like insecure and stuff. So I was just like, this is just like sickness trying to get me to like murder my body for so it can thrive. It's like,
Mhm.
if he like goes to sleep, we're gonna own him.
He's just
So,
gonna
like,
hate himself
he's
that
gonna
much
hate himself.
more. And when he hates himself, he won't take care of himself, and then we'll just keep winning, boys.
You win. That's it. That's it. So I was just like, I can't let this sickness overcome me. I'm not gonna let this like germy vampire have my body. So I was like, I gotta do stuff. So I did fight back, and I did get all of my writing done. So I completely
It's
finished
awesome.
writing our erotic
You
vampire.
did, and I love it. I love Bait so much. He's my favorite character ever.
I love him so much. So, Steve and I are working on this book called Bloodlust. It is a like vampire slash witch revenge comic book, and it's mostly action comedy, supernatural, fun, really. And so it's an excuse for us to just kind of play in that sandbox and just make all the silly jokes we want to make and do all that, have
And
all
draw all the sex appeal possible,
all the
but
sex.
at the same time, we it's balanced very well with Anthony's writing and everything.
Thank
I'm
you. Yeah,
very thankful that Chris decided that you were the good idea. The team just made sense. There's no reason for me to work with another teammate like at all, especially
I
with how cohesive our system is as a two-man group, you know.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, so we're working on this thing, and like it is a book where there is like there's erotic, there's nudity in it, but that's it's all it's all diegetic, I guess. I like it all makes sense.
It's nudity in the sense of like an HBO or Showtime show that you really love that has that random nude scene in it, but like it's still a great show, like Peaky Blinders, if you will.
Exactly. So, but what Stephen was referring to is so these vampire hunters make their way onto this old rickety ship that ends up being inhabited by these ghouls, which are like these undead zombie-like creatures that happen to have a consciousness. The ghouls hate vampires as well, so they're working with these vampire hunters to try to like help them in any way they can. The way they're going to help them is they want to catch a mermaid because it turns out mermaids are the vampires of the sea. And
Mm-hmm.
the way they're going to do this is by hooking one of the undead creatures to a giant hook and sending him off into the water as bait. And so it's just like a fun, ridiculous scene where this ghoul pirate kind of volunteers to be the bait because he doesn't realize what's going on, and it's just this
Mm-hmm.
playing with his ignorance. It happens to be his birthday. It's just like this silly scene. It's like a silly scene, but like
He's just so like he just exists in the moment.
yeah,
He just accepts it. Bait has been living a life of Bait his whole life. Like he's this
100%.
this is his this was his existence pre-werewolf attack.
Yeah,
And
right. Yeah, he knows his purpose in life. So yeah, so I wrote that whole thing. I felt really good about it. I also finished coloring an entire page of Deathless issue 4 and half of another page. So like
which is awesome because those pages are definitely very color
they're
heavy.
super color like detail heavy. What did you get done this week?
Dude, I finally did it. I got 2 full pages done.
Dude, that's freaking amazing.
With a 42-hour work week and a
Yeah.
family
Oh,
and kids, I did it. I got 2 full comic pages done this
it's
week.
freaking amazing. I love it. I love that we're doing this, and like it feels like with our progress and like how we're going right now, it feels like we will get both issues done this year if we keep pushing.
What's going to slow up in the next month is getting Bloodlust done, but I feel like it's a good thing because it's just going to keep me going with
Yeah.
speed. So like the more I draw, the faster I get. Like I have noticed like an increase in my capabilities since taking on multiple projects and feeling the need to like give my love and attention to both of them.
Oh yeah.
Um,
No, dude, I get
but
it.
yeah, so we'll get because Bloodlust. I think we're aiming for that to be done for him like on our end of April. I'm sure we
Yeah.
might be able to, push around a week or so, but I really do want to get it done by the end of April. And then that way we can jump right back into Deathless 4
Yeah.
and get that finished, and then Deathless 5, and then we're done with Deathless. Deathless will be finished, you
That's right.
know?
And then, like, we talked about doing a movie, and
Yep.
I'm sure we're gonna still make comics. We'll figure,
Yep.
something out. I have been playing with this movie idea, Steven. Like, I don't have a title for it yet. So usually I don't do, like, I only do a pitches get stitches when I have like a fun, punchy title. And I don't have one yet. But I just have this concept, that I was like, oh, this is like a good start to a movie, right?
Hmm.
So I'm just gonna give you the idea real quick. It's not like a real pitches. But dude, okay, imagine this. Like, we all use Instacart or whatever, DoorDash from time to time.
Hmm.
Imagine me, like I'm a DoorDash or like I'm an Instacart delivery guy, and like I go to the store and I see, or like I have all this stuff to buy there, like, just stuff to make like a good dinner. There's wine, there's, all this stuff. So I'm like, I get all the stuff and I go to deliver it. And when I go to deliver it, like this girl, probably KT, opens the door like kind of like excited and like looks and just starts like breaking down crying. And I'm like, oh my
Hmm.
God, like, are you okay? And she's like, I was hoping you were, like
This other person,
this other
basically.
person. And she says like, I think he ghosted me. And I'm just like, ghost, like who would? So you got go. I'm sorry. You know, like it's just
Mm,
awkward. Like I'm just gonna. I need your ID for the wine.
the
And it's like,
transaction, like you gotta make
and
sure you're
she's
of
like,
age.
yeah. And then she's like, talking about how like she was supposed to have this date today, and she planned this beautiful dinner, and she just needed like she wanted the wine and a couple of little things for dessert. But she's already has this dinner cooking, but like her date didn't show up, and she's looking at me and she's like, "Do you want? Are you doing anything right now? And like, do you want to? Would are you, I don't want to, she's like, just like awkwardly inviting me in. I was like, yeah, just
Hell's yeah, free
like, yeah,
food,
like free,
wine.
free food,
'Cause
wine. You're a pretty girl, like yes, so because for those of you who don't know, previously in Anthony's life, I delivered pizza. What else? Something else that I did while I delivered pizza is anytime someone invited me in their house, I entered their house
every
every
time.
time.
Iguana guy was the best.
Yeah, it was the best. But I did. I entered their house every time. Was that smart? I don't know. Ask the previous iterations of Anthony that were all murdered by those people.
Yeah.
I'm not him. I'm the one that got to survive all those various times as they lay dead in various multiple, realities. I didn't suffer that consequence, so I get to laugh about it. But someone who might suffer that consequence is this guy who ends up feeling like, oh my God, this is a really cute, weird situation where it's like, oh, we're kind of hitting it off. And she's like, she made this dinner. So like now she's serving this dinner to me. And like we're talking. And yeah, and like you kind of bond, like maybe the two characters like bond over like failed relationships and how weird dating is and how it's like, is this really any different than a dating app? Like what makes
Mm.
it, like
It just swiped. Yeah, I swiped right on the first person that opened the door. But like, that's really what an app would do
that's
anyway. It would just put someone
exactly.
at your
It's
front
like
door, right?
I literally got on my phone. I accidentally found you and swiped right, and here we are. Like, what better way? If you want, we can lie to our friends if this works out. But like, I think it's a cute story, and they both kind of like laugh about it, and they're like, oh, I don't know. So what are you into? And they start talking. But I think like as the night progresses and like the conversation starts getting like more uncomfortable, and like like it starts becoming like apparent to the guy that she planned this and that
Mm.
like so like I don't know though. A lot of things can happen. I don't want anyone's opinions on what should happen, but I do want to know if you want to know what happens next.
Of
So if you're like,
course.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, does that sound like a good beginning to a story? Is my question. I don't want everyone to be like, "Oh, you should do this," because then I will lose all of my energy for that story. It happens every time someone's
Mm.
like, "Oh, this is how what you should do," and I was like, "I like writing. Stop it," like. But what do you think? Does that sound like a good
I,
beginning?
I think so. I think that's a solid premise. I'm
Because
already wondering, what is she? Is she like a creature? Is she human? Is she just like a psychopathic human, or is she possibly
she's
like
like a vampire, or
a
she's
vampire, or like some sort of like
She very well could be. I also, and
succubus?
I don't think I would go this way just because I feel like the majority of audience would be unhappy with this result, but I personally think it would be really funny and unique if you played the whole thing kind of straight, but as a director and like with the sound made it feel creepy. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like, what if it was just a date? Like, they're just like everything's working out, but you start focusing on things in
mm. The
a weird
director is like the camera showing
the
things
camera
off to the
showing things,
side.
yeah, like you kind of like focus on a door, and it's like, okay, well, is someone watching them, and it's just kind of like it starts feeling creepy, and you don't know what's going on, but it turns out it's like no, you're just being manipulated by this
Mm,
thing and all of your presumptions and that sort of thing, which is interesting, but I don't really think it's entertaining. Like I'd want like
mhm,
when I do make movies, I want them to be entertaining. I do,
mhm.
like
Fun.
I want to be fun. So it'll probably end up being where she is some kind of like psychopath who has been like doing this to delivery drivers or a vampire who's literally ordering her meal
Her
from,
Instacart meal. Yeah, she's like,
like, and she's feeding him and maybe she's not drinking or eating and she's just kind of talking and he
mm,
realizes it and she's like, he's like, what's going on? Or maybe that's just part of what feeds the tension where she's like, or where he kind of realizes that she's not eating and he's like, are you? Are you okay? Are you gonna eat anything? And she's like, oh, it's my nerves. And she keeps making these excuses. So like, I don't know, maybe he texts his friend and he's like, know what's happening.
I think I'm about to
I
be
think I'm
eaten
about
by a
by a
vampire.
vampire. But I also don't want to ruin this if I'm not about to be eaten by a vampire.
I'm
Right? Like
gonna keep rolling this
I'm
dice and hope I
rolling the
keep
dice
rolling
again.
nat
I can
20s,
roll
baby.
right? I can roll a 20. I might just roll a one or like I roll a two and it'll be her fangs. That's just how this works. That's just how that cookie crumbles. But anyway, if you're interested in seeing that movie, let me know because that's something I'm probably gonna work on, like outline and figure out. Otherwise, dude, I've been like I think I'm gonna rewrite Stakeout so we can film it and like just make
We
Stakeout.
have all the characters now necessary. We're
Yeah,
done.
we're done, dude. I think we can do it. I mean, I would like some of our like don't make it weird friends to like come and like maybe be the pizza person or something. But if not, I do know other people who are like very
I mean,
interested.
Brandon would help,
We
I'm
have yeah, we
sure.
have
And
Brandon, we have Edwin, we have my friend Oscar who wants to help make movies. So yeah, we do have we have people. I've been trying really hard to focus on like the fact that we do have some people. I know Levi likes to give me a lot of crap because I get down on myself for not having like the resources I would like to have, but I do have some. I know that. I'm not stupid. I definitely appreciate all of you guys. Like
absolutely.
I love everyone and everything that we're doing. It's just like I can't help but to be like overly ambitious. Like I want it to be a good movie. Like when I make a movie, I don't
You
want to
don't
be like,
want it to feel like somebody filmed that like
yeah,
locally and didn't
yeah,
put any production into it, and it doesn't feel like a movie. It feels like a home video that someone
yes.
chopped like a movie,
Yeah,
basically.
and that's the thing. And like I know there's some things that I'm gonna do where of course it's not gonna be perfect, and I'm never gonna make like a perfect movie or whatever. But I want it to at least I want to be proud of it. I want to look at it and be like, oh yeah, this looks like a movie. Like if someone else made it, I would watch it and enjoy it and not judge it as a piece of crap. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
that's what I want. So and like I do think that the crew that we have, we can accomplish that with like the small script that I'm working on. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm gonna write, I'm gonna rewrite Stakeout. We're gonna figure it out, and I think it'll be good. But otherwise, Steven, would you be okay with answering some questions tonight?
Do I have to hit them with the theme song?
I would love that. I love that theme song.
There's a theme song that we sing every week. Yeah, 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 yeah. It involves everybody that we know and love. Hell yeah. Because it's that time of the night where the theme song hits just right. It is now time for the questions from the colony. That's the half beat drop down with Anthony Stevens. Got the words, and we're gonna answer your motherfucking questions. Questions
Questions.
from the colony, folks.
That was perfect, Steven. I freaking love it. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome to the colony. If you have questions for us, if you're like, oh, who are these, nerds and why do I care what they have to say? Ask us below. Ask us in the comments or join us on one of the various social media apps and ask us there. We're also on Patreon and, wherever else. All the links are in the thing. But we get together. We're trying to make a colony because, the world is on fire. How about yours? That's the way we like it and we never get bored. So we get together and with our colony, we allow them to ask various questions of us because that's what we believe in. We want everyone to have
Because you're all stars to us,
that's
okay? Like you are the best.
you are.
Rock stars of our world.
That's right. So we do have questions from people who watch and people who listen, and we're going to answer them now. So Stephen, our friend Werner Joseph Bauer asks, and this is a more serious question, but he says, why try? He says, effort versus lethargy. I think effort generally helps, but sometimes relaxing allows the subconscious to come up with ideas. I suppose each person feels uniquely different depending on their situation, but like, why try?
So yeah, I can see where he's coming from. Sometimes those like moments where you're just like decaying or just not even decaying, maybe just like separating yourself from the project you're working on just to like kind of revitalize and reconfigure and reestablish, But I
Right.
mean, in essence, when you're kind of doing that and you're relaxing with intent, you're
Yeah.
kind of doing that. You're kind of still working on the project, right? I mean, you're kind of still
I always think of this as the doobie doobie doo effect.
mhm,
It's the, you do things and then you are the thing that you're doing. You relax in that like reality that you're creating. Like and no
mhm.
matter what, because we're always actively or inactively, we're always consuming things, we're always digesting things, we're always participating in the creative process one way or another. So it's like, but to answer his question, like why try is because you have to act sometimes. You can't
Hmm.
always be the thing because I can say, you know, this, you know, like the fake it till you make it thing or whatever. You can say I'm a comic book writer, but if you don't write a comic book, you're not a comic book writer, and that comic book will never exist. So, you know, if you want to be an author, you can't just not try to write a book. You have to try to write the book, you know? And
Yes. Like,
that's
yeah, because like of course you can do any of these things anyway, because I understand the idea that art should just be expression and you should be feeling it. But if you're producing art with the intent for people to consume your art and for it to be basically something that might pay your bills, art also becomes job. You know, art becomes like you where you like for example for me, the more pages I work on, I'm more equipped and more aware of how long it takes me to complete a page. So when then I get hit with certain deadlines, I'm like, okay, here's the deal. You could lay around and think about it, but and that's this day, but you are all you're doing is robbing time from the future if you still want to meet this deadline because you're gonna have to have X many this pages done, you know, and for this project to be
yeah,
completed, you know. And since that's kind of the world we live in with like the art, we want to create art and be able to like enjoy our lives and then our jobs be our art because we love what we do. So in essence, you actually, yeah, you do have to try you kind of have to because if you're not, somebody else definitely is.
that's a good point.
And that's like the thing. Like if you're not giving something that you truly want for yourself, if you're not applying it, somebody else is already doing way more than you and they're already ahead. So
Yeah,
like,
that James Gunn thing. I've said this on podcast before, but it was one of the things that inspired me when I started writing scripts and stuff, where he said, whatever you're writing right now, there's someone else out there who's literally writing the same idea. I know you think it's unique and I know you think it's great. They're writing the same thing. So you have to write it faster and better and do your best to get it out there before they do. Even if they don't
mhm.
really exist, they do exist. You know, so it's like you have
Just
to.
it's just an odds game, really. I mean,
Yeah.
like
So
the more
I
people, the more of us that exist in the world, the more media that there is to consume, the likelihood of like your ideas and like what you wish to make and be, there's not just one, there's probably a handful of people that are on the same like track as you, you know?
True. Yeah, dude. So I mean, why try? You don't have to, but try because you want to. Try because you
Hmm.
know what you want to be, and try because you choose to be the thing. You know, and if you
Hmm.
choose to be a thing, you're going to have to do the
And
thing,
if
and
yeah,
therefore
and
you.
if your goal is just to create when you can create, then that's a great goal too. And that by all means do that. I mean, if you
Yeah,
feel like you need to be able to express true expression every time you put pencil to paper or brush to, canvas or finger to guitar, like then by all means do it that way and express yourself in the most truthful way to yourself that you need. But at the end of the day, man, like the best of the best, the people that we look up to from our mediums that we enjoy, they definitely painted when they didn't want to paint, and they definitely played guitar when they didn't want to play guitar, and they definitely drew pictures when they didn't want to draw pictures, you know? That's
yeah.
just the truth.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, sometimes things are a means to an end, and sometimes things are a means in and of themselves. Like, you know, we're having fun and doing what we can with this erotic action vampire comedy book. It's not necessarily the thing that we're like in love with that we want to be, but it is something that we are now because it's something that we've done, you know? And the more we take those actions and do those sort of things, the closer we get to it, the more we facilitate the growth into something that we do want to be and do the things to allow us to do the things that we want to do. And you know, it's kind of like you kind of are what you do to an extent, you
Mm-hmm.
know, like that's just how it is, you know. So if it's like if you're not doing the things you love, you're never gonna love what you are. No, what's the point, you know? So you might
Mm-hmm.
as well keep trying until you can always, you know, love who you are one way or another. So that's kind of I don't know. That's what we're doing at least.
Absolutely.
Let's see. All right. Scott D. Roberts. It says, "How do you deal with two creatives in the house? Do you
This
both
is probably, yeah, I mean, I guess Tina's a creative too, but this is probably
creative
more
too?"
for you and KT because you both are writers and
Yeah. So okay. So KT and I love it. It's the coolest, best thing, honestly. Like every time she makes this like amazing little sound every time she gets a lot of writing done or like enjoys the writing that she did. And I always know like first of all, it makes me happy as hell. And it always makes me know that like she's going to be super excited to read her stuff to me. And I'm like,
mm,
it's really cool. And then she's really excited to like read my, you know, read my writing and like see the pages. Like she's been over my shoulder all day, like looking at the
mm,
comic book page, and she's like, oh my God, that looks so good. And it's like, yes, thank you. You know, so it's just like we're constantly sharing with each other. The funny thing is like he asked are you like living in your head all day? The answer is no, but when I do, I'm very guilty of just like thinking about stories and thinking about ideas and then like spitting out some half like half concocted thing like a punchline to a joke that the
Like the
setup.
worst Frankenstein monster. Like
Oh,
there
it
is
doesn't
no
make
like
any
proper
sense at
build to
all.
this creature at
Yeah.
all. Like it
So it's
is.
yeah, dude. So it happened like last night. It happened because I was thinking about that idea. Initially, I thought it should be the girl should be the one who's doing the delivery, and the guy should be the creepy one who's like trying to lure a woman into his house. But then I was like, no one's gonna buy that a woman would go into the house. Like never. Like they won't buy it. And
It's
like
not happening.
it's not
Not in this.
happening.
Not in
Like not in
2025.
2025. That's the thing. Not in 2025. It just won't happen. I could set it in the 90s and maybe, but then you don't have that same thing. It would be a pizza delivery guy. It would be like it doesn't work, you know. And you can argue with me if you want. Like, yeah, sure, you can create some sort of like Rube Goldbergian like weird mechanism of like social interactions that would maybe make it work. I don't believe it. Like I think more people would argue against it, call the writers stupid, be like, this was written by a guy because no girl would go in. I don't want to deal with any of that. So I was like, oh, so last night out of nowhere, I was like, oh wait, the delivery driver's a guy, and she just started laughing at me because it was out of nowhere. Like I was just like, the delivery
The
driver's the guy.
delivery driver's a man.
Yeah, the guy. It's
He
me.
would fuse into the body of an anglerfish if he was an anglerfish. That's what he is.
He's just searching for the light. But anyway, yeah, it's fun. Honestly, there have been no drawbacks at all. I only feel support, and I feel like she really like sincerely appreciates the things that I come up with for her ideas. Like like bounces ideas off of me all the time, and it's my favorite thing. That's why I tell people like, don't give me ideas for my idea. Like if I start pitching ideas, unless Steven and I are like in private, and I'm like, Steven, what should I do here? And we're talking about it. That's one thing. But like, I hate it when people just like give me ideas because I'm like, oh, that's like my favorite thing to do. Stop it. You're like shooting my joy. You know, like
You're taking my fun.
so like when she's because it's like a narrative puzzle, it's like how do these pieces go together? So when like KT comes to me and she's like, okay, I have these pieces, but I don't know what to do with them. And I'm like, oh God, yes, I can't wait to help, and I do, and she like has fun with it, and we just do that together. So it's fun. It's like we take turns being like Sherlock Holmes and Watson of
Trying to
stories.
solve to make this mystery the best mystery.
Yeah, and it's cool. It's fun. I really love it. KW Buzzard says eyeballs. That's the question. The answer is Stephen, answer the question. What's the question is eyeballs.
Maybe he meant the testicles that are left after an anglerfish is absorbed by a female anglerfish. I mean, that's
I
literally the only thing I'm going to go back to every time I don't
balls.
understand something.
Okay. Let me see. RP Lewis has a couple questions. They say, I'm sorry, it's Mr. Okay. He says, what are your thoughts on places like Royal Road, and what has been your experience on Kickstarter and Patreon? And then also, how important is swag like stickers, bookmarks, etc. when doing Kickstarter? To my knowledge,
People
oh, go ahead.
love stickers.
People love okay,
I
first
love stickers.
people love
You
stickers.
love
Love
stickers.
stickers. People love additional things, free things, bonus things, that sort of stuff for sure. Especially if you do conventions and that sort of stuff, it helps to have stickers.
Stickers are everything at conventions because
Steven and I
honestly,
have sold countless books. We have
Mhm.
like we've like gotten through our entire inventory just from giving away 50-cent stickers that lure people to our booth who are just like, oh, free sticker
They
and
just
also
give us a chance to hear us because once you listen to us, it's not like we're salesmen. Like we are not salesmen. We are the opposite of salesmen.
sell us on it, Steven. I don't believe that we're not salesmen. Let me hear the pitch.
But we genuinely believe in our projects, and you can tell that there's love in them. So as long as they'll flip a page or two and just kind of hear us talk about like our journey and what we've done, we know that they'll at least be interested enough to pick it up. And I know if they read it, they'll more than likely have a great time.
Yeah. So to my knowledge, Royal Road is like it's like webtoons. It's
It's like
like
a
one of
free, it's a free like
yeah, it's a
place.
place where you go to read novels, but like people upload their work and you can read. You might be able to make some or like donations. I don't know how the like monetization works on it, but honestly, I'm gonna say just like anything else, it's that sort of website, it works to the extent that you put energy into it, and like you
Mhm.
engage with it just like every other social media. It's not something that we engage with. Like we do tend to go toward Kickstarter, and like our Kickstarters have been great. And, we've
We've
done
literally
our
never had a bad one. And we're so spoiled when it comes to Kickstarters because like we've seen like how it can go and what can happen. And like, yeah, every Kickstarter has just been nothing but a dream. But we've also made sure to be just so transparent, so easily accessible, like in terms of like what we're doing and how we what we believe in this project, what we want to do, what we want to accomplish. And we've also successfully followed through on every single Kickstarter without fail. So it should only ultimately get better for us for people that are kind of peeking in on future Kickstarters because we're very consistent, you know? So
Absolutely. As far as Patreon, we don't make a lot of money on Patreon. What I've been doing recently is taking all the money we get from Patreon and putting that into like ad money,
which seems to be
for
working really well for the YouTube videos.
it's been helping our YouTube. And like it sucks that it's like, oh, we have to like pay to be seen
But
by
man, if the one
but
person hears it and they like what you got, you know, like that's all
yeah.
that's how you build the colony, you know? I mean, that's
Yeah,
literally what it is.
and the people who support our Patreon are like they're just incredible, kind, supportive people out there who are probably watching this right now. And like, thank you all. I hope I shared the Bloodlust script with them, and like I try to share things with them whenever I can, and I make videos when I can. I've also I don't know, but it's just one of those things. It's you cast as many nets as you can out there, but you also at the same time have to tend to your gardens. Like I'm
Mhm.
mixing metaphors, but it's true. Like you have to recognize like it's
We'll burn
impossible.
that garden when we tend it.
Yes, but it's impossible. It's just impossible to be on every social media, like to do Medium and Coffee and Patreon, and you can do it, but it's so hard to maintain it. So it's just like I would say like whatever you find yourself drawn to, put the energy into that, and hopefully it'll come back. And if it doesn't, try something else and
I
put
think
the
if our storytelling was more like weekly episodic in terms of like web like comic production,
yeah.
maybe we would consider something like that. But I feel like what we're trying to produce, I I just love holding comic books in my hand. And
I
I wouldn't
yeah.
like of course we give the digital option for those that just want the digital option, but like I feel like printing that comic and holding and reading that comic and seeing the way the colors
Oh,
translate onto paper, it's just I don't know, there's something about it that's more magical to me, and that's why we've always focused that route.
I mean, it's just this is our hollow foil.
The holofoil variant is really cool.
Love this book. Look at this. This is our new issue. Oh God, I love it. But yeah, so I think that all of those things have their merits. If you want to ask us more questions about Kickstarter, if you need some tips, if you're going to launch your own, feel free to ask us on any social media.
Absolutely, and we'll
Like
also try to support you any way we
I,
can.
yeah, I'm an open book. Feel free. You can DM me if you want. I'd prefer it if you talk to me on the timeline, just so more people can see. So if you ask questions, like maybe other people
Because we have a lot of creative friends too that
and a
have
lot of
done
other people
very
who
some yeah.
a lot of people who have been like more successful on Kickstarter than we are. So maybe they have knowledge that we
Looking at
don't.
you, Jeff Schiller. Magic Powder is freaking incredible.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome. Oh, I love that book. All right, let's see. What other? Tyler Kirk says, I have a few. You can obviously pick one yourself. I'm just going to ask all three because there are three. It says, what's one comic book series that totally surprised you for better or worse, Steven?
Surprised me.
Yeah.
I don't really take chances with things. I am someone who's very researched in what he wants. Like especially with comics and especially how old I am now. But let me think. New Avengers. I think that's a great one because I remember when we were in our little Marvel frenzy back in like the early 2000s, and which is crazy that I'm referring to that era because it feels like yesterday, but it's the early 2000s. Anyways, I remember getting the first issue with, and we've discussed this issue before, but with like Purple Man and all that, and like
Oh,
I thought it was just gonna be another team book, but it was actually really well done. I think Brian Michael Bendis write New Avengers? That might be who did too. I'm not sure, but that book surprised me because I didn't go into it with a lot of expectations because I was like, there's already like a celebrity cast of superheroes in this book. I mean, Wolverine and Spider-Man on an Avengers team, it's already so great. And then the book was still just that much better after reading it.
oh, it's so good, dude. Comic that surprised me. Well, I mean, Preacher. Preacher had a lot of like weird twists and turns that I didn't see coming. That like, I mean, it made me cry. I think that was the first comic that made me cry, where I was like, oh man, I never expected that to happen.
Preacher's pretty well. I've never really read it, but I know you really loved it for a while there, and I know you would talk to me about it often. And like, yeah, it seems like that it's got a lot of crazy stuff going on.
Yeah,
That Garth Ennis, is it
yeah,
Enos? Garth Ennis? That Ghost Rider that he did too was pretty cool
yeah,
back then too. Remember
for
that?
sure, dude. Yes, that
That
was
was a
cool.
pretty sick book.
That was really cool. Every day he tries to escape hell like
Oh,
that.
dude, that opening sequence was just so phenomenal. The artwork was so insane too.
Oh God, so can you imagine coloring that and stuff? So
Drawing it. Ugh.
I know. Okay, Tyler asks, if you could live in any comic world, which would it be and why?
I
Okay,
think all of us, none of us would want to live in the Invincible universe. That's for
no, no,
sure.
absolutely not.
Um,
Um,
if manga is included, I would definitely. I think the Dragon Ball universe would be really cool to live in because it seems like anyone is capable of the powers of that universe.
Powers. Yeah, to
Like
some extent.
it's training and like knowing the right people to teach you the right
Yes,
techniques. You
that's
know,
fair. That's what I went to the same place because I was like, the X-Men universe has a lot of people with powers, but what if I'm not one of them?
Mm.
I'm gonna be a monster. I'm gonna
You're
become
gonna be Nimrod, like right, like
yeah,
I'm Master Mold, baby. Like the
yeah.
moment I don't have the powers, I'm Super Mold. I'm like.
Oh, yeah. So I
But
don't know.
Dragon Ball, I feel like is the most like open, so like because
Yeah.
even like other, I mean, I guess Naruto and stuff like that. I mean, One Piece, you could just eat a piece of fruit and gain powers, and a lot of them just learn techniques. But Dragon Ball just has some of the Dragon Ball is like literally like, hey, you know who Superman is? You can earn your like way up to becoming a Superman like character.
I was gonna say like you although there are I think DC I'd go generally DC because there are so many magic items and so many opportunities
Hmm.
to just become a superhero somehow. You know, like you can do it by accident. It feels like you know like I feel like if you put in enough research and like actually explored enough, you could find a magic item to like you know you'd be the next Green Lantern, you'd be the next Billy Batson, you'd be the next you know like there
Hmm.
like that's so many of their superheroes are just like, oh, I stumbled on this thing and now I am this like magic creature.
Hell,
And
Batman just has money. You know what I'm saying?
I wish
It's
I could stumble
crazy.
on some of that, Steven. Oh, all right, let's see. Then his last question is, what was your biggest challenge when it came to creating Deathless? What has been our biggest challenge, Steven?
Consistency, I think, for a while there, like
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
so on me, just like making the time and realizing what the project entailed. Deathless was actually the first comic where I went full digital.
Yeah.
Because Play It Again was pencils, and then I just the amount of product and like
Yep.
how like scaling I am when I'm drawing something and like redrawing pages and not liking that. So Deathless, I think I guess the first hurdle for me was becoming I guess a digital artist because I wasn't one and like not making my lines as rigid because early on it's like it's hard to like really make the digital stuff look natural, I guess. But yeah, I think that'd be the hardest part about Deathless. The cast isn't super wide, but like they're I mean character
Yeah.
design like wanting to make sure each character kind of had their own personality, which I do feel like we did well. I do feel
Oh,
like each
I think
character
so.
definitely has like a you know because I almost look at it like a Scott Pilgrim-y thing where like I felt like all of her exes were so iconic in a way, you know, and like they each had their own vibe and energy. And it's like, I feel like character design is just so important because you relate
Oh,
to the characters, you know, of how they look, who they are, how they, you know,
oh
carry
yeah.
themselves. And so that was like really important going in. That was something I wanted to nail. And I think we did do that though. So,
Yeah, dude, I think you nailed that. I mean, it's almost exhausting to color, like to flat color those characters because they're so detailed and like so
mhm.
specific to each character. But I love it. I think we're doing great. Fowler asks, "Am I too late?" No, no,
Never.
you made it. It says, I got my Kickstarter stuff today. That shirt is awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Fowler. And thank you to everyone who supported our last Kickstarter. We will have another one this year, at least one more. I'm hoping two more. We're
I
really,
really want to get two this year.
I think
Like I said, Bloodlust may slow us up, but I
we'll
don't think
see.
it's gonna. I think we're gonna do it, man, because
I think we can do it.
no summer lull, and I think we got it because the summer lull always happens, and because of the
Yep.
heat of the day and everything. But if I can push through the summer lull, I think we got it.
I think we're gonna do it. So Fowler asks, you're currently a dungeon amateur. What's the next rank up, and how many ranks before master? So if you don't know what he's talking about, I recently started learning how to be a dungeon master for Dungeons and Dragons. I'm running a campaign for Steven and Tina, and you know, there's my fiance and our friend Lucas, and we're doing it, playing D&D. But I've never done this before, so I am, and you know, if you've watched this much of the show, you know I'm like an anxious weirdo, and I overthink things sometimes, and but I do like telling stories, and I like creating narratives, but I still I'm nervous because there's so many rules and so many things to like remember. Like there's a book and all this stuff. There's three books at least, more. Anyway, I don't. Okay, I'm currently a dungeon amateur. What's the next rank up?
Obviously, if you've been paying
Novice.
attention, the next rank up is you got to get your party. You have to guide us in destroying the the dragon man with the hammer that's obviously taken over the arcade. And then from there, we have to go to the time space witch and be, not defeat her, but just listen to her very wise words.
Yeah, yeah.
So I
I
mean, I think if we
hear-
follow that path, you will become a dungeon master.
oh, it's very true. That's really what I'm going for, Steven. That's what I'm going for. I did start a YouTube channel that's like people are enjoying it. That's pretty cool. Because I can't talk to you about it, which sucks. Like we could talk like about what we did, but I can't talk about like what I'm working on. I hate that.
So I
You
should
know?
avoid that channel then, huh?
Yeah, you guys can't watch that.
Yeah,
Don't
I don't think I
tell
know
Tina to
where it's
never
at.
watch it. You can't watch it. It sucks. I probably
I
should.
won't. I won't. If you ask, I don't even think I have looked for it yet. So I just
Okay,
make sure not to look for
make sure Tina doesn't watch it because like I did like I mean there are major spoilers for what's coming up. Don't
it.
not fun.
Oh, there's no way I would ever want to. But
I should keep it like I'm trying to I'm keeping like a diary. The whole point of it is it's a diary, so I'm not, like I want to keep up to date with it. But I also don't like I don't think you guys are cheat. Don't
no,
cheat.
we would never do that. There's no reason to. The whole point of the fun
It would be
is to
fun
experience the moment. I'm
for
not
sure.
the type of person that wants to get ahead of something like that. Tina,
I
load it, load it. No, I'm just kidding.
I was just gonna say like the next time we meet, like Tina just knows everything. She's like,
Tina's
oh,
like, I'm not going to jump on that chandelier that
I
Anthony is setting before me.
I look behind this one specific painting out of 4,000 paintings. Cool, 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 cool. All right, let's see. So I don't know how many ranks are going to be before master, but we will see. Probably five. Daily Downing says, not a question, but it must be said. I am so excited to read Deathless. So happy you boys are brave enough to share your work with us, and I'm sending you tons of bouncy hugs your way. Thank you, Daily. We
Daily,
appreciate
you're
all
the
the
best.
love and support, and we really hope you like the books. I really I'm proud of issue three. I think it like turned out really great, and I'm freaking
Mhm.
hope everyone loves it. Please let us know if you receive your book. Let us know. Post on social media. Let everyone like take pictures with it, or just take a picture of it, or whatever, and let people know that it exists. It's now up on the website. If you want to read our book, you can find it at wehaveissuespodcast.com. All it's it's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. Um,
You lose.
you win the Deathless.
You get
But
everything.
you can everything. So our final question comes from our friend Richard Holiday, who says, "Oh boy," he says, "Just talk about that bed problem, Stephen."
What's the bed problem? Do I have a bed problem? I don't
No,
have a bed
Steve,
problem. I lay it down.
Stephen.
I
Unfortunately,
lay the hammer down.
I'm not going to comment on it. I have to comment on it, Stephen. Unfortunately, I have a bed problem. If you're a part of my family and you're listening to this right now, just don't. Just skip
Uh-oh.
it. Like, thank you for getting this far in the episode. I love you and I appreciate you. I'm going to be respectfully sexual for a second. Stephen, we got a new bed.
Uh-oh.
Several months ago, we got a new bed.
Oh, the I feel like I lightly remember things about this bed, but continue.
Steven, we broke this bed immediately, Steven. Broke this fucking we just broke it. We
In the
broke it.
most basic position, we broke this bed.
Steven, I was sleeping. I wasn't sleeping.
Okay,
No, it wasn't. I know.
it was in the most puritanical position,
I'm
which was
trying
just
my best, yeah, to be as but she knows I like we talked about this, like, but she knows I'm going to talk about it because like she posted it about she actually asked me if she could post about it on Twitter, which was really cute, and I was like, yeah, I don't care if you say it, like I talk all the time, so I asked her, if it's
you're
okay.
asking me if you can post about my trophies. By all means.
Oh my trophies. It's so funny though. Um, but the reason she brought it up today is because so Steven, we broke this dang bed so bad that like the stupid thing, like you can't fix it. Every time I
Mm.
try to fix it, it keeps every time we sleep together, it breaks and it's like a nightmare because
Dude, those bed frames are garbage. That's why,
yeah,
like, every single one you buy, I don't care how expensive the frame was, you need to put a freaking thick 2x4 underneath there somewhere
you
too.
do.
There's no way that any metal or prefabbed wood is ever going to compete with the human body in motion.
It's a complete disaster. So here's the thing. She calls. So my fiance calls Wayfair and it's just like, "Hey, we have this 4-year warranty. Our bed broke." And they're like, "Okay, well, will you go on this website and fill out this paper and tell us what happened?" So she does it, and then they call her back, and this guy on the line is like, "So it says here that you broke the bed, or the bed broke when and my fiance was just like, we were having relations. I lost it. I'm crying. I was just like, I have to leave the room because she's telling this stranger on the phone about our love life, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'll sleep on the floor. What am I?
I never want to hear this again.
But anyway, it was so funny, dude. It was so funny. So yeah, the bed. We have a bed problem right now, but they did after a lot of yelling, which is Steven. It was so funny to watch. Like it was so because my fiance is this big, like she's
It's the
not.
small ones, man. Tina, do you think I'm the guy that sends the steak back at a restaurant?
Yeah.
No. I'm the gentle giant. It's the 5'1" Italian I married that like gets everything done. She's the boss. I'm
So,
just the enforcer, buddy. Like wherever she tells my mitts they need to go, that's where they're gonna go. She's the boss.
so it's so funny. So she's like giving this poor defenseless phone person hell. But to her credit, I mean, she was completely right. They were arguing and trying to make it as if they weren't going to do anything about it. But the bed was defective, and they should definitely replace it. We didn't do anything wrong. We were just we're on the bed. We're jumping on it on our feet. Like we're not being
Mhm.
crazy.
It's
We're
not
just
like you were past weight capacity or
oh, like
any other things. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
exactly.
Like you
So
you are both very healthy
yeah,
sized adults. Like
so yeah.
like this is unacceptable. This bed should not be breaking.
Yeah, so after a bunch of like, very very Jersey back and forth, she talked them into giving us a brand new not only a brand new bed, we're getting a brand new four-piece bedroom set.
Oh my, so she like talked him into more?
Yeah. Which is so
How?
funny. Which is I don't know. I,
Persuasion.
I I went to go take a shower because I was like, this is I'm laughing while she's yelling at this guy because like I know what she's doing. She's mad, but she wasn't like actually she was just like, I'm gonna get what I want, however, by
Mhm.
any means necessary.
You
And
make yourself appear as the
yeah.
the
So
worst.
yeah, so I went, I took a shower, I came back, and she's like, so we get a free bedroom set. I'm like, we could break that too. So but anyway, that's our bed situation. Thank you, Richard. Also, I got your book, Richard. I'm gonna read it. So better be good. Better be the best book ever. Steven, otherwise, every week we end the show by talking about what we're gonna do next. So what do you want to do? What are you gonna do this week?
So I am going to try to start focusing on bloodlust pages, but like my goal is still going to be to progress on deathless while I do that. So I'm going to aim for like 2 pages of bloodlust and then at the very least a roughed page of deathless is my goal.
Nice. Okay. I'm just gonna throw myself into the flats. That's what I've been doing. So I'm gonna
Mhm.
I'm gonna aim for 3 pages is what I'm gonna aim for. Like three flat pages.
I think I need to upload some more pages for you too. I know I've
Yeah.
been sending you the PNGs, but not the full uploads. So
Yeah, so just upload whatever you can. I'm gonna just work really hard on getting those flats done. Whenever I do eventually catch up, I'm gonna start lettering like immediately. That's my plan. I'm gonna like do all the flats and then do letters. And I want to get this dang book done. I think once we get around, well, I think once we finish Bloodlust, you should do a cover. We should make a cover of this book so we can
okay,
start working on the Kickstarter for it.
that makes sense to me.
So I think if we get a cover going, we can start building the Kickstarter and start, like getting people's attention with it. I would like to I'm gonna put as much effort. I'm gonna go like maximum effort with this next Kickstarter, and I'm gonna make it look like a very like
Should write a
successful
theme song for
Kickstarter.
this one.
That would be cool. I do want to like really try to make this Kickstarter like look phenomenal and also just be as enticing and interesting as possible.
Barreled is here, ladies and
Yes, yes.
gentlemen.
This is going to be the for like a big one. This is a very fun book, and I can't wait for people to read it. But that's what we're doing this week. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being a part of this colony. We really appreciate you. If you have questions for us, make sure you ask them below or ask us on Twitter. If you want to check out our books, go to www.wehaveissuespodcast.com. You can buy all of our books there. Our first couple books are also available on Amazon if you'd like to go and like rate them or just like read digitally or whatever. But we appreciate all of you, and we're so thankful for you. And we really just I'm so glad that anyone made it this far in this episode, especially after the anglerfish ball situation in the very beginning. So
Give me
thank
them gonads, boys.
Steven, you want to say anything before we go?
Thank you so much. That Kickstarter was amazingly successful. Every package has been shipped, which is awesome. I think it's the fastest package receiving of goods, packaging, and sending all within a week. So I mean that was pretty awesome. Um, Thank you so much for giving me a reason to ship something to somebody. We love and appreciate each and every one of you. You guys have come through with us, come through for us every time, and we just can't thank you enough.
100%. Yeah, thank you so much. And we hope to see you next week. Otherwise, I'm Anthony.
I am Stevie Wildcard.
This has been We Have Issues. We'll see you next time.
Boom, 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 ba boom, 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 ba boom, 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 boom,
Go.
boom.
We watched the show Adolescence, which was like freaking nuts, dude. Dude, you know when people do just real quick, when people do like, one takes, like long
Mhm, mhm.
one shots.
It's funny because Daredevil tries to do that too a lot with
Yes.
their action sequences, which
Like,
is so cool.
okay, but here's the thing, Steven. Usually, like sometimes they're beautiful. They're always impressive no matter what. A lot of the times I kind of look at them as like masturbatory. Like it's like, all right, I get it. You're doing it all in one shot. But sometimes it's awesome, right? Dude, this show Adolescence, there are 4 episodes, okay? Each episode, the whole 45 minutes is one take, okay?
That's wild.
Now, dude, when I say this, I don't mean it's one take of like two people sitting in a room and they just happen to have like memorized the script and they do it like it's a play for 40 minutes. Dude, it's a full crazy story. Like the first episode starts with like this police raid into a house and they like arrest this boy and they put him in the cop car and they drive him to the precinct and they like interrogate him and all this stuff and it's all in one shot. And like, dude, the car, like the camera, I don't know. I'm imagining sometimes it was in a drone, sometimes it was handheld, but like, dude, it like goes over the city and it comes back down and goes like is intimate and it always looks great and it's so good. And
That's so wild.
dude, and it's all 4 episodes are just like that. And I just like, I mean, it's just so impressive from like an acting standpoint and a directorial standpoint. Like the fact that
And
like
from like cameraman, light man, sound
Lightman,
guy. I mean,
everything.
every
Dude,
possible thing has to be
Steven,
working
like
in tandem.
there's an episode, I think it's like the second episode, like second or third episode, the police go to the school of this kid to like interview some of the kids that he knows to like find out if they could find this murder weapon, right? So they go to the school. You see hundreds of kids, right? You'd imagine they're doing this whole 45 minutes in one shot. And they're in a freaking school with a huge cast of extras. No one's looking at the camera. No one's giggling. No one's ruining it. It feels real. It feels like you're just following these. I was like, KT was literally like, we watch movies differently. And I was like, yeah, I can't stop. I'm like looking in the background. I'm trying to see like, how perfect is this? And like, yeah, no one's breaking. No one ruins it. No one sneezes at a
It's full
police.
immersion.
It's full immersion, like 100. It's so cool, and like the story itself, the narrative didn't play out the way I was thinking it would. Like it wasn't like I was hoping it would have more like mystery aspects to it. But regardless, dude, like, the things they explore and the way they present it is so freaking beautiful and cool and dark and awesome. But like, dude, impressive. Like I don't like if you would just watch like one episode of it, just the first.
Adolescence, you said?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's called
Nice.
Adolescence. Just watch the first episode and you'll be like, okay, cool. I see what they did. You
One
don't have to
take
watch
is
all
just
of
so
it,
crazy.
dude.
Tina's been, this is not nearly as impressive, but Tina's been watching this medical show called The Pit,
Yeah.
and every episode is supposed to be an actual hour on their shift. So like
Oh,
the
cool.
whole first season
That's
is
like
just one
24.
shift.
Oh, that's cool.
It's
Okay.
just one shift of ER nurses and doctors trying to
That's
survive the ER shift, you know?
that's yeah, that's smart. I
That's
mean,
a really cool concept for sure.
that's
I
like
mean, it sucks if you want multiple seasons because the characters are obviously, but like Tina said, the next season would be a different shift anyway. It wouldn't even be the same people, you
no,
know?
that's
So,
that's really cool. Yeah,
mhm.
that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's a cool use of that framing. Kind of like, I mean, 24 did that, but like it was crazy and everyone was like, "What? When does he poop? When does he poop?"
Yeah.
Whereas like this is like, yeah, you're in a hospital for this is an hour. That makes
It's an
sense.
8 hour work shift or whatever, or 10 hour shift, whatever the season number is, or how
Yeah.
many episodes are in
Oh,
the
that
season. But
that makes sense. I like that. That's cool. I
it's a
like
pretty cool idea.